We have maybe 22, 23 Italians in our batch. I think I'm the only one from southern Italy.
Oh, really?
It's like the less developed part of the country. It's very pretty, very beautiful, but it's kind of middle of nowhere.
Gabriel D'aversa is from a small town in southern Italy. From the sports career in teenage years and the ambition of becoming a scientist in university to the world of consulting at McKinsey, he had different ambitions in his different stages of life. Today, let's dive into his stories and his obsession with Asia.
Sport has accompanied me for a majority of my teenager years. I was a lot into one particular sport that is volleyball, very popular sport in Italy, and I started playing for fun, right, at about 10, 11 years old. Progressively got a little bit more serious. From 15 years old to 17, 18, I had the chance, to play almost at a professional level, basically in the youth team of a professional club in Italy, which, required moving out of my parents' house at 15, living with other kids that would come from different parts of the country, and with some tutors that would replace mom and dad, right?
So, just like the sporting school Alexia was mentioning. Yeah,
we were talking about this yesterday with Alexia.
Oh, yes.
It was a very similar environment. Those years were extremely useful for my, I would say, overall education, in the sense that they were very tough years. So you go to a normal school, and then in the afternoon you start your training sessions, typically every day or like 6 days a week at least. In the weekend you had a match, right, the game. I had my parents, for example, coming to visit me every other weekend, that is every home game, and then the other weekend would be the away game, right? So you travel in a different part of the country. That was pretty much the routine.
So then for your training, because I do not know much about volleyball, how do you train?
Like in any sports, right, you can kind of divide the week based on the particular day. Essentially, as you progress from the Monday to the game day, which is on the Sunday, you go from more physical intensive activities to more technical activities and exercise, right?
Gotcha.
So, in a typical week, you would do a couple of sessions of actual gym work, so physical workout, and then move all the way to the more tactical side of practicing tactics and positions, or like doing video analysis of the opponents, right, to prepare for game day.
Why did you stop?
Several reasons. I would say on the one hand, my particular case, I was not too confident that I would, reach the very, very, very top level of that sport. And on the one hand, it's a sport that is a bit minor compared to other very top and most popular sports like soccer or even like basketball. So chances of, making a living out of that sport are slimmer compared to, again, other sports. I also have to say, I had strong passion for like math and physics, and I really wanted to go to uni and focus on academics for a little bit.
Your college time, you chose a totally different side.
Yeah.
You chose physics as your major.
I felt I was a bit kind of good at it, physics and math in general. I saw that as the most fundamental way of looking at nature to some extent, like really studying the laws that tell the universe how to behave, essentially. It really was, in my eyes, the most fundamental type of science. It's like saying that all the other sciences kind of derive from the basic laws of physics. So it was very charming, very fascinating, and I just went for it. It was actually like applied physics in between engineering degree and pure physics.
Gotcha.
I specialize in a field that it's called photonics, which is the study of technology based on photons, that is light. So how to manipulate light to make some useful technology but it's very interesting. So the study of like lasers, LEDs.
So you went to college in Milan?
I did my bachelor's in Milan.
And then also, I remember you exchanged to Sweden.
Yeah, lived 1 year in Sweden. It was the third year.
Third year, okay.
So spent 2 years in Milan, 1 year in Sweden, and I did a 2-year master's degree in Lausanne at École Polytechnique.
Yeah.
Both in applied physics. And also like the second year of the master's degree, majority of that was in Boston for me.
Oh, really?
I was doing my a master thesis at Harvard for about 7-8 months. Yeah.
So that's one of the project you had? Okay,
yeah, it was a very cool physics project. It was in a field called polarization imaging that essentially tries to develop cameras that can see and perceive a special quality of light that human eyes are not sensitive to.
Okay.
And that is called polarization.
Actually, you published the article about that.
Yeah, there's my name on this article. It's it was published in 2019 on Science Magazine. So
I
was very proud of that, yes.
Oh my god, I didn't know. Wow.
Yeah. Okay, it's my only research article, published.
But still, it's on science.
Yeah, it's on science.
And then when you graduate from college, your first job was just consulting.
Yeah, I mean, the very, very first job was actually like a 6-month internship in Procter & Gamble. Totally different industry, consumer packaged goods in Geneva. Very, very first work experience, basically.
And then you like that?
I liked it, yeah, absolutely.
So that's why you decided not to do the science?
Yeah, it became kind of the plan in the last years of university. The idea of becoming a scientist, didn't excite me as much anymore. Yeah, I loved Procter & Gamble. That was a great experience. I loved that I could enter a random grocery store and be like, okay, this and that product, they belong to my company.
Yeah, exactly. Then you didn't consider really work there full-time?
No, okay, I had the chance to, but I also wanted to move into the consulting world, so managed to, after a short experience in a smaller consulting firm, Oliver Wyman, I moved to McKinsey. No, I came back to Milan, to my home country. I came to the conclusion that I wanted to be in Asia for as much time as possible. And, INSEAD was really the only one that could...
Yeah, that was my question too. So before then, you haven't really been to Asia?
No, not really.
Oh, really?
And now I've seen quite a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
To the point that, I wouldn't mind even staying and working for a couple more years after the MBA.
Yeah.
It's to be defined, but I'm very attracted to Asian culture. I really wanted to maximize my time spent in Asia, so INSEAD was a clear choice.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for hosting.
I need to find your hometown in Google Maps. Let me guess. And then I will start this place. Santa Maria di Leuca.
Very close to the...
Really?
Very close.
Marina di Felonice.
No.
Why the name is so long? Oh my god.
Wait. It's this place here.
Turikase?
Yes.
Is it how to pronounce it?
Yes, very good
Turikase.
pronunciation.
Okay, start.